Monsanto's disgusting, dirty deeds are starting to come to light as both lawsuits and leaks are revealing the company's worst behavior. They've gone after journalists, activists, and even concerned parents in order to protect their ugly profits. I have Farron Cousins from the Trial Lawyer magazine here to tell us what's happening. This story, you know, I feel like sometimes we do a lot of Monsanto stories, but the truth is they're outrageous. I mean, the conduct of Bayer in Monsanto has crossed the lines. Tell us the story.
Well, this one is particularly disturbing because you had this group, Moms Across America. And all the way back in 2013, they sent a letter, a very nice, actually, letter to Monsanto, just basically saying, hey, studies are showing that glyphosate in Roundup is causing cancer. It's linked to actually a whole host of different diseases. Would you please consider not using it anymore until you can guarantee the safety? And that actually prompted one Monsanto scientist to email one of his colleagues and basically say, listen, I sure wish we could slap the heck out of these parents, but of course we don't want to be seen as attacking parents. That's what he said in the email.
Let me this guy is Dr. Daniel Goldstein. That's who this character is, okay? He is a biostitute. Now, a lot of people don't understand when I use the term biostitute. We originated the term, and what it means is a scientist or a medical professional or somebody who's willing to create phony literature, lies, willing to put their name on the bottom of whatever kind of lies they're asked to do by Monsanto. Now, Dr. Daniel Goldstein is the guy who is willing to do that. Dr. Daniel Goldstein is the guy who wrote the memo, hey, maybe we ought to just start roughing these people up. I mean, that's basically what he's saying. And so the way now understand, these are the people who brought us DDT, PCB, Agent Orange, and a half a dozen other chemicals that will kill you.
Yeah.
And each time they fought the same way. In DDT, they hired people like Goldstein. They didn't hire him, but they hired people like Goldstein to tell lies about the safety of DDT. They did it with PCBs. They did it with Agent Orange. They always have these people out there who will do anything you ask them to do if you pay them money. And so in this situation, this biostitute and the guys surrounding Dr. Goldstein say, hey, we're just going to go after these women who are just moms. They're moms that are mad about this product killing people.
Right. I mean, that was the big crime of Moms Across America was we don't want our kids to be poisoned. But apparently that was too much for Monsanto. They were not happy about this. And here's the thing we're also finding out from these documents that are coming out from the trials that have happened, the pre-trial that's going on. These have all been released to the public, available for everybody. But we're finding out it wasn't just this Moms Across America group, which it's disgusting enough that he said we should slap the, expletive out of them. But you go on to find out that they've been doing it to journalists. Carrie Gillum, who has been phenomenal. Yeah, and she has been amazing on this issue, one of the best.
Right.
They've been going after her for 4 or 5 years now.
Through Fusion. Tell us about Fusion. Fusion is its own organization, and what it is, they're hitmen.
Yeah.
They're hitmen. They're scientific hitmen who go after journalists. They go after scientists who disagree with them. They try to get the people fired from their job. They try to discredit the science that they create. They even had these people followed, had private investigators following these people to try to build a file on them.
Well, and they build these dossiers. I mean, they do have quite literally actual files on these people like Carrie Gillum. What they do, they'll go through anything in this person's past. Have they ever been arrested? Have they had a DUI? Do they have speeding tickets? Did they say something crazy on social media one time in a tweet? And they put all that together in the file, and that becomes the hit piece for the Intelligence Fusion Center, is what they call it. And this is a real thing that Monsanto had. It exists, and its sole purpose is to take on anyone who tries to say that their product is dangerous.
How about this? They're now in bed with Bayer. Bayer, of course, are the people who brought us Factor 8. Factor 8. Now, Bayer, I could go on. We could do our own show on Bayer. But you add Bayer to Monsanto, and what I love about this is this new alliance is drilling up all of these ugly stories about Bayer, like the fact that their management came from the Auschwitz. He was a war criminal.
Yeah.
Okay. Fritz Termeer was a war criminal, and Bayer said, "Well, we want him to help him. We want him to lead the company." He's the guy at Auschwitz who developed cyclone gases that killed people by the millions. He's the guy that Bayer, to this day, still honors every year. They have a special program to honor Fritz Termeer. Now, that doesn't stop there. Bayer they're also the people who created Factor 8. Now, it was a medicine for hemophiliacs. And it was there to stop bleeding. What they didn't tell everybody is Bayer knew that it was infected with AIDS virus. And they took it off the market in the U.S. and they sold it all over the world. Thousands of people died because of it. So Monsanto and Bayer, brother, what a perfect match. The past couple of years of media coverage have been riddled with stories of survivors sharing their stories of sexual abuse, from Hollywood mogul Harvey Weinstein to disgraced physician Larry Nassar to the horrific allegations against the late financier guy Jeffrey Epstein, who we see all the time.
Yes.
Look, this story now continues with the military.
Right.
I mean, that's the other new part of it, isn't it? The military.
Yes.
Talk to me about it. How bad the Me Too element has fit into this finally. We're talking about this finally. And tell me how bad it is.
It's bad. I think it's been an ongoing problem for decades, Pap. Everyone's known about it. The Department of Defense has certainly known about it. All branches of the military are impacted by sexual assault, sexual harassment, and also played with the problem of really not being able to find an effective way to grapple with it and deal with it. They see the impact when they finally do have people come forward and report at the VA's office or within military ranks when they're suffering from PTSD or other problems. But it is such a pervasive issue now. As far as the exact number, they don't exactly know because they believe a lot of these cases are underreported. But the Department of Defense did an anonymous survey, and they sent it out to all branches of the military. And for 2018, based on that anonymous survey, the results were 20,500 cases of reported sexual either assault or some sort of but it was the majority of some sort of sexual assault. And so the majority they found that was, and it's not just women, one of the least talked about parts of this is men on men sexual assault, which is an added degree of shame and humiliation, if you will, for the victim as to not come forward. But they did find in this latest survey that among the most vulnerable were women 17 to 24, because most of what they found is that these women were being attacked by people that they already knew, either superior officers or people that they were already in close contact with. And that's what they're learning, at least even though these results are anonymous, they can at least say, okay, at least they feel comfortable in this environment reporting. It's giving us an idea of what is happening, when this is occurring, how they can deal with it. So they know the problem exists. It's just been a hard time getting a change in the culture to where they feel comfortable reporting it, because sometimes when they report it, nothing happens.
Doesn't part of it have to change with women becoming, with them treating women as equally as they can, both in rank and things like special ops?
Yes.
You know, there are plenty of women that, I've known in my lifetime that could sit in and be part of special op kind of training. And the more that they're centered in these various things, whether it's ranking, whether it's special operations, those types of things, then this does it does affect the amount of abuse that we're seeing. But I'm really wondering what's fueling this problem. It's been we're talking about it now, but it's been around a long time. We did the tailhook stories.
Yes.
I think you did it when you were an anchor, a news anchor.
Yes.
The tailhook stories started then. We started taking a look at it. But what's fueling it now?
I think it's a culture of silence like you see in a lot of institutions, but what makes the military perhaps even more vulnerable to this is, like you said, that, historically forever we haven't really had women necessarily in the ranks to this extent that we've seen in the last few decades. But aside from that, the very way that it's put together, you have unit cohesion, and almost like officers in a law enforcement unit. It's your partner, but extend that wider out to all the people that are in your unit. And if someone does something to you and you tell on them, even if it was a crime like a sexual assault or a rape or some sort of assault, if you tell on that person, especially if it's a superior officer, then there's this general feeling that you have betrayed the ranks. You're no longer somebody that we can trust. And it's almost like it takes out the poison. You're labeled with the baby in the bathwater. Throw out the person who's complaining as opposed to dealing with the problem and the source of it.
So I saw handling on this on something that I read not long ago where it was talking about the Israeli military, where everybody's required to be in the military. It's a requirement.
Yes.
And the assimilation of females into the military hasn't been totally seamless, but it's been a lot more seamless than what we're seeing here in the United States because there's no distinctions. In other words, if somebody wants to work with Mossad, if they want to work at the highest ranks of military engagement and special operations, and I mean, there's no holdback. There's opportunity across the board.
Right.
I think of that. It was an old movie. It's called G.I. Jane, something such as that.
Yes, I remember that.
And they were trying to talk about this idea that we have to equalize that part of the military before we ever start treating women like they should be treated in the military. But when I look at the Israeli experience and I look at what's happening here in the United States, it's different.
And other studies they've done in other countries where they talk about basically putting men and women together in the military, they found that the better the integration, the fewer reported incidents of sexual assault. Because like you're talking about, I think it goes to that idea of you're treating somebody like an equal, or maybe even going back to the idea of a healthy unit. If you're all working together, when you know somebody, you're less inclined to believe stereotypes about them, or you're less inclined to lump them into you're a less than category.
Right.
So they found that they think that that's part of it. But part of it, too, is just getting in there and feeling like you're not, that you've got some rights, making it easy to report, making it easier to investigate. And then you have a whole other element, which is a whole other topic, about military law and how that helps keep a lot of these cases from coming to light as well.
Let's pick up with that another time. Molly, thank you for joining me, okay?
Thanks, Pat.
Every year, 1 million hernia surgeries are performed in the United States. Unfortunately, some mesh implants that are used in these surgeries have caused complications, including infection and organ damage that led to surgeries to correct those problems. If this has happened to you, learn more about the hernia mesh lawsuit by going online to hernia.law or call us for a free consultation about your legal rights.